And the Nets are keeping it very interesting this season, now adding six-time All-Star forward Blake Griffin to the squad. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, Brooklyn used one of its veteran minimum contract slots to sign Griffin, who will likely be used as a small ball center off the bench. Not only is he joining the Big Three on a quest for a title, but also former Clippers teammate DeAndre Jordan. So, Max, what do you think? Will Griffin have a little, big, or no impact, there you go, on the team this year?
I'll say a small impact. And I'll say so giving him the benefit of the doubt, thinking that he'll be very motivated to be the best version of himself on this Brooklyn team. But I take no pleasure in saying this. I remember when Blake broke into the league, and I was out in L.A. doing afternoon drive on ESPN radio. And it's a Lakers station, but you couldn't ignore what was happening with the Clippers. Blake Griffin looked like he had a chance to be one of the greatest power forwards who ever lived. He was he was something different athletically. But it didn't quite pan out that way. He was an all-star, not an MVP. It didn't quite pan out that way. And after he got injured, he hasn't been the same. Guys, you know the last time Blake Griffin dunked? Jalen Rose pointed this out a month ago or something like that.
Yeah, and dunked in 2 years.
2 years? It's been 2 years since he dunked the basketball. So you take that away from Blake, and what do you have? He's not really a defender, and he's just not built like a defender. You know, defenders aren't the barrel-chested guys. They're like the lanky, long-armed dudes who can play defense, usually, right? He's not built like a defender, and he's not a defender, really. Not a shot blocker, not a rim protector. He's not a shooter. He takes 6 threes a game. He hits under 32% of them. So what is it exactly that Blake now does that's additive, right? How does he positively affect the team? I'm willing to believe, given the amount of time he hung around as an all-star and given his basketball savvy at this point in his career, that a fully motivated Blake Griffin, as a center maybe in a small ball lineup, that idea has been floated, will have some marginal positive value. But Stephen A., I think that's what it is. He's Blake in name only at this point.
I think you're sleeping on what he can bring to the table, but it's understandable. As you know, listen, from time to time, I do have to teach you the game of basketball. I understand this stuff, Max. So let me school you about something here, Max.
Stephen Naismith.
That's Stephen Naismith. There you go. Here's the deal. Seriously, Blake Griffin is not a number 1 option. He's not a number 2 option. Here's the beauty. He doesn't even have to be a number 4 option or Brooklyn. You're forgetting that the people that you play with, what you're surrounded by, has a profound impact on how you can perform when you're not asked to do but so much any longer. When I think about Blake Griffin's athleticism since his injuries, it's dissipated to some degree. There's no question about it. But I think primarily the issue in Detroit, was the fact that he didn't want to be there. He knew that it was a team going nowhere. He knew they were in rebuilding mode. He never wanted to leave. He never wanted to depart L.A., which is why he ran off instead of shaking hands with Steve Ballmer when he came back for a visit. He never wanted to leave. He liked being in L.A. or Detroit, where you want to be. I know where I want to be. So we understand.
Nothing against Detroit. Love me some Detroit.
We love the city, but come on now. Let's just be real with it. And so I'm just talking strictly weather. And so as a result of that, you look at it from that perspective, he wasn't as interested. Max, the guy has played in 38 games in like 19 of the last 20 months or so. 38 games.
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing. All right, the last time we saw him in a full season, he was averaging 24.5 points a game. When I think about that, and I think about him, reuniting with DeAndre Jordan, and I think about James Harden and Kyrie, and then you add KD to the mix. Excuse me, you got to worry about those 3. I'm sorry, Blake Griffin is no scrub. He's not somebody that you can sit up there and leave alone, and he's not somebody that you can easily guard one-on-one. And because you'll have to prioritize focusing on the other 3 when it really, really counts, that's from a basketball perspective. Then you've got the motivational element that we can't ignore. Then you got the fact that he's reunited with his teammate in DeAndre Jordan. All of those things coming together, and Brooklyn desperately needed another big body, because all you really had was DeAndre Jordan and obviously shipping Jared Allen off to Cleveland. So you got
Jeff Green ain't it?
Jeff Green.
No, but I'm saying not as a big body.
Not as a big body, but Jeff Green can ball. But again, Blake Griffin enables you to go small. Let me ask you this question. If you had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, KD on the court with Jeff Green and Blake Griffin to go small, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Or Joe Harris.
That's right, or Joe Harris. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, Blake Griffin can work with this group.
Yeah.
If he were going someplace else where he was asked to be a number 1 or 2 option, I would have a problem with it. I would side with you. But him being in Brooklyn, I think it's one of the perfect landing spots. I think he helps elevate them, and I think he elevates them significantly because he gives you an extra body that can do some things, not on a night-in, night-out basis, but I'm talking about sporadically. Can Blake Griffin go out there and give you 20 or 30? Yes, he can.
That's a small. I'm saying, yes, but that's a small difference. Like
It's not a small difference when you consider their roster.
Joe Harris is, whether he's starting or however you're going to do it, in crunch time, Joe Harris should be on the floor. He's the best shooter on the team, amazingly, right? In fact, in our morning meeting when we were talking about, like, do they have a big 4, I was stumped. I mean, I was like, wait, are people considering Joe Harris part of the big 4? Because that's how I've viewed Blake Griffin the last couple of years. I think of Sean Kemp. I think of Larry Johnson. These were, like Blake Griffin, they were once a certain kind of player, and they were all-stars. And they had to reinvent themselves as their careers went on due to injury, age, size, whatever.
Primarily and when Larry Johnson is back. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And they did it very. Larry Johnson was one of the highest IQ players I've ever seen on the Knicks.
Absolutely.
But he couldn't jump anymore. He wasn't as good as he was, but he reinvented himself.
But he was still formidable.
Sean Kemp, too, got down in the post, wasn't like high-flying anymore.
But his game was predicated on that. That was never the case with Larry Johnson.
But
Larry Johnson wasn't a skywalker when he was at UNLV.
But he could jump. He could jump after the back.
He was massive.
Right,
he was a man amongst boys. But he wasn't a jumper.
Without getting bogged down in the Larry Johnson
Stacey Augmon and Anderson Hunt were the jumpers, not him. But
what I'm saying is there are guys who reinvented themselves. I don't know that Blake can do that on a level to make him a big deal.
I think he has to.
But who he's replacing in this lineup really, or when he's on the floor, that's really Jeff Green. What you're really asking is, what premium does this version of Blake Griffin in a small ball lineup playing the 5 give you over Jeff Green?
But thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.